Good evening and welcome to the LaRouche Organization Weekly Battle Report. Today is Wednesday, June 18th. I am Michelle Aaron, your host. Tonight's episode will highlight how the LaRouche movement has mobilized in the context of the new war between Israel and Iran, how to address the U.S. anti-King, anti-Trump demonstrations, the continuing fight to save the people of Palestine with a major rally in Denmark, and conclude with two very important reports on the educational and cultural work of the LaRouche movement with new blockbuster journal publications, and the announcement of an upcoming Schiller Institute International Conference. Let's begin. Israel began bombing Iran last Friday, June 13th, in an unprovoked bombing campaign that has been responded to by Iran, and the back-and-forth bombing has not ended. The LaRouche movement mobilized immediately and released a beautiful leaflet, "It is not too late to avoid a doomsday scenario in the Middle East," which outlines the situation and calls on the reader to act now to avert nuclear war and bring peace through development to the Middle East. This leaflet, which you can download now, includes a powerful directive on how to stop the unfolding potential nuclear war. Number 1. Resolve the nuclear issue with Iran with regional enrichment processing for peaceful use of nuclear energy, as Russia has offered to do. Iran has already agreed to not having a nuclear weapon, but will not accept being denied access to nuclear technology. 2. Stop Israel's war on Iran and genocide in Gaza in its tracks by cutting off all U.S. arms shipments to Israel. Netanyahu's Israel is just a stick of dynamite wielded on behalf of British geopolitics and British orchestrated war plans. 3. Convene an international peace conference under UN auspices or by direct sponsorship of the U.S., Russia, China, India, and Brazil, as urged by retired Colonel Douglas MacGregor. 4. Bring infrastructure development to the region, as outlined in LaRouche's Oasis Plan. Urge Trump-Xi Jinping talks to involve China's Belt and Road and other global peace initiatives. Development is the new name for peace. 5. In all venues, promote a new international security and development architecture. Firefighting is needed, but the arsonist has to be stopped for good. So these steps the reader can take are laid out, such as distribute this leaflet everywhere to state and local government officials, church and civil rights groups, trade unions, business associations, civic organizations, college campuses. And other links are included with QR codes to background materials on the LaRouche Oasis Plan, on Helga Zepp LaRouche's 10 principles of a new development and international security architecture, and how people can access and sign up for the weekly discussions of the International Peace Coalition. So this leaflet can be found on both the Schiller Institute and LaRouche Organization websites, as well as in the links below. Yesterday, 500 copies of this leaflet were distributed near the United Nations in Manhattan, New York. TLO President Diane Sare was live there at this rally.
Hello, I'm Diane Sare, president of the LaRouche Organization, and we are here right across the street from the United Nations, which, sorry if I'm making you dizzy, we will show you, is right over there, including the famous statue by Sare of swords into plowshares. We are here because, as you probably know, we are on the brink of a nuclear war thanks to the insane Israeli strikes on Iran, which of course Israel is not acting for Israel, but they are acting as a tool of the British Empire. And in fact, there was a lengthy article in the Wall Street Journal saying as much, that Israel is redrawing the map. Who's into redrawing maps? Why, the British, of course. Remember Sykes-Picot? I can say the response has been very good. We are in a kind of dictatorship. Many UN people are under orders not to take literature, but right off the bat, I met an amazing person who has a child rescue organization who has spent a lot of time in Gaza. We have met some other interesting people, diplomats from various countries, and of course we've met a bunch of, a few Israeli fanatics who basically think we should blow up the world. But we're getting out many, many leaflets. The statement here, oops, that's not the statement, that's my clipboard, but we're getting out the leaflet. Could I please have a copy of it? This, the Schiller Institute statement. It is not too late to avoid a doomsday scenario in the Middle East. And I would encourage people to donate, subscribe, join the LaRouche organization, join the Schiller Institute. If they could stop fighting and killing each other after the 30 years or 100 years of religious war in Europe, we can end this now. But President Trump should stop listening to religious zealots like his ambassador to Israel and instead listen to Putin and Xi Jinping, and of course emphatically the wise words of Lyndon LaRouche.
A similar rally took place again today with many hundreds leaflets distributed, and TLO organizers attended an anti-war demonstration tonight at Bryant Park in Manhattan, distributing many hundreds more. In Texas over the weekend, this leaflet was distributed at an aid festival.
Hello everyone. We're here in Houston at the Eid Family Festival, a wonderful gathering of families within the Islamic community. And we've been getting out this Schiller Institute leaflet. It's not too late to avoid a doomsday scenario in the Mideast. And this is something that, of course, is a great concern to everyone, even though they're here to have fun. They've been coming over in ones and twos to talk to us about this, and also about the Oasis plan that the LaRouche movement has stood for as the only durable solution for Israel, Palestine, and the whole region, part of the new paradigm of peace and world development. Thank you very much.
That banner that you saw there, President Trump don't bomb Iran. It's a British trap with phone numbers telling people call the White House, was also seen by motorists yesterday evening during rush hour on Loop 610 at Wayside Southeast in Houston. We have several other organizing reports we'll come back to after one of many, many media appearances this week of LaRouche representatives. That this one deals with the domestic destabilization in the United States. In an interview this past Sunday, June 15th, with RT News Agency, TLO President Diane Sare gave a stern review of the No Kings Rallies that took place the day before in over 1,000 U.S. cities in protest of U.S. President Donald Trump. Sare pointed to a dangerous political climate, dubious intentions of those sponsoring the demonstrations, and the danger that most Americans can get played because they aren't currently thinking in the big terms of shifting into a new paradigm of peace and development. We'll now watch a clip where Diane responds to the question of who she thinks is behind these well-organized demonstrations.
Who do you think is truly behind them?
I don't know, but I think people who participate in such rallies, and I'm going to be a little harsh now because I think actually we're in a very dangerous situation inside the United States, as evidenced by the assassination of the Minnesota lawmaker that just occurred as well, that people who participate are fools. These are rallies to have kings and have war. And I know the ad in the New York Times advertising it was paid for by Christy Walton of Walmart. And a couple of the points that they demand really should stick out. One, we honor our commitments and stand by our allies. Well, our allies have been Zelensky, Netanyahu, and in fact, at the rally Hands Off Social Security, we also saw signs Hands Off NATO. So you can't help but understand that these actually are the legacy of what has been called the deep state, what I would prefer to call, as LaRouche did, the British Empire, and Americans who are correctly unhappy with many of Trump's policies are being drawn into this, and they really should not be so foolish. The last part, we defend against aggression and by dictators, and we want the stability and rule of law. There is nothing in their demands about stopping war, about stopping weapons flowing around the country, about freedom of speech for people who are protesting Israel's atrocities being committed in Gaza, etc. And then at the DC rally, let me just say, I saw a sign, 8647, an explicit assassination threat against President Trump. For people who don't know, that's mafia, 8 miles away, 6 feet under. I think we are in a very advanced process of an attempted coup d'etat within the United States. And Trump, I'm not sure, is fully aware of the nature of this because he seems to fall into things like around this Israel-Iran situation, which are actually very self-destructive and which are alienating him from his base.
A major question in organizing in the United States and other countries is how to get people out of becoming paralyzed with picking sides and then not thinking. Let's go to Mike Reeves from Maryland, who presents a beautiful resolution, organizing around solutions. Last Saturday, Mike went to the 250th anniversary celebration for the founding of the U.S. Army in Washington, D.C. You'll see his super simple homemade sign that says, "Plan to retool defense plants to build new infrastructure." He reported that even after he ran out of the 150 leaflets he was distributing, lots of people seeing his sign were asking him questions. And positive responses to our idea, the Swords to Plowshares conception, to stop the wars and retool to improve our physical economy, came from both of the so-called sides, pro-Trump and anti-Trump. Mike reported afterwards his sense that we have a real opportunity to pull people out of the gang counter-gang operation that's being run if we mobilize around our solution.
Hey, hello, it's Mike Reeves here, doing some volunteering for the LaRouche organization at the 250th anniversary birthday celebration for the founding of the United States Army. There's so many people out here, I'm not even going to try to estimate the number. It's just huge. I came out here with a little folder, plan to retool defense plants to build new infrastructure. and I was giving out copies of the Swords to Plowshare Act of 2024 proposal to retool the Defense Industrial Base to expand industrial capacity and build equipment to build infrastructure in the United States and disentangle us from these foreign wars. I had a number of people that recognized LaRouche from over the years, supporters of his, people that supported Jose Vega and Diane Sare recognized us. And individual in one case who came back and asked about retooling and then shared that his machine tool shop he's concerned about to dissipate and be sold off once he retires, and he would very much like to keep it going. It's very high-tech, very specialized stuff that he does. So an interesting response out here. And hopefully we survive the weeks ahead and get a chance to actually implement this policy.
Thank you, Mike, and I'll make the encouragement now for when you the viewer, all of us, when we go out and organize, feel free or even encouraged to take photos or film yourself as Mike did with little selfie video statements so that we can show more and more of the places where we are organizing. So today in Europe, Schiller Institute's Feride Gillesburg participated in a major demonstration against genocide in Gaza titled Stop det nu, Danish, but which means Stop It Now. And the fuller title of the rally, Stop It Now, Save the Children and Families of Gaza. This rally took place at Christiansborg Palace Square, which is in front of the Danish Parliament. And over 15,000 people attended. We have a short statement from Feride. She mentions a big banner that was at the rally that says, Denmark stands on the wrong side of history because the Danish government is supporting Israel. But as you see at this rally, 15,000 people showed up to say they do not.
I'm Feride Gillesburg. I'm here distributing leaflets from the Schiller Institute at the demonstration called the Dead Drivers. Maybe like 15,000 people have been demonstrating against the genocide going on in Palestine. We had one big banner which says Denmark is standing at the wrong side of the history because the Danish state is supporting Israel. I know there's no resonances about the situation right now that Israel is bombing Iran, which is totally against the United Nations Charter. But 15,000 people came to this demonstration at the Christiansborg, the Danish parliament, to demonstrate for Palestine, to demonstrate for stopping the genocide, for stopping children of dying of starvation, for stopping the bombing of Israelis against civilians. And this is a demonstration which has been taking place all around Europe.
We have now perhaps the peak of tonight's report because it goes to the question of ideas of truth and beauty. We have two announcements on two amazing publications of the LaRouche movement. First, we're going to hear from Anastasia Battle, who, in addition to being one of the co-founders of the weekly International Peace Coalition discussions with Helga Zepp-LaRouche and many, many important guest participants, Anastasia is also the editor-in-chief of the Leonora Culture magazine. and she's going to tell us about the release of their latest issue.
Thanks, Michelle, for having me on. My name is Anastasia Battle. I'm the editor-in-chief of the Leonora magazine, Art, Science, and Statecraft. This is the cultural magazine that you get with a recurring membership of the Schiller Institute. And this latest issue that we've had is probably one of the most relevant you can imagine right now. And it's on the importance of poetry in statecraft. And we look at some of the greatest crises that have happened in human history, from the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Civil Rights Movement, the Civil War, the Indian independence, and we ask ourselves, what were the ideas that these great leaders at the time used in order to make a breakthrough for human history? And that is vitally necessary right now. So I want to encourage everyone to take a look at this issue. You can receive it by becoming a recurring member of the Schiller Institute for at least $5 a month. You can go to schillerinstitute.com to make that happen. And many of the articles that are in there can be vitally used for your own organizing and thinking through how you can mobilize right now. So with that, thank you everyone for all of the work that you do, and I look forward to hearing about your various interventions in the world.
So now we'll just scroll through a few pages of the online journal. You can just see that it's beautiful. There, you go read the mission statement. It's wonderful. The articles, they're formatted in a way that really help draw you in. Beauty. So we're going to go now to Richard Black, the Schiller Institute representative at the United Nations, who will talk about tomorrow's issue of the weekly Executive Intelligence Review magazine. For those who aren't yet subscribed, the EIR Weekly Journal is the journal of depth and substance that we have produced for over 50 years. It goes hand in hand with the daily, with the EIR Daily Alert, with the news briefs. So let's go to Richard.
Fire at will.
My name is Richard Black. I'm the Schiller Institute representative at the United Nations, and I have tremendous and exciting news. Tomorrow, Executive Intelligence Review, EIR, which many of you are familiar with, will be publishing an exclusive, a major piece by the former president of Russia, former Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev, and it is entitled The Fraud of the International Criminal Court. This is a major paper, an EIR exclusive in English in the United States, published earlier this year by the St. Petersburg University journal Jurisprudence. In this extraordinary piece, it lays to bear the International Criminal Court's creation as simply a toy of the West to punish the disobedient, whether that be Russia, Philippines, Mongolia, South Africa. So this is critical reading, because what Dr. Medvedev goes through is the critical principles of national sovereignty, international law derived from natural law, the inherent inalienable right of the economic development of each individual nation in a brilliant anatomy. And this major piece by Dr. Medvedev is coupled with a speech by American Ambassador Jack Matlock, who was the last American ambassador to the Soviet Union. He gave a major address at our recent Schiller Institute conference, live and online, and also an original piece by EIR historian Gerald Rose on the founding of the United Nations by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the launching of the Bretton Woods monetary system, both of which were nothing less than weapons against colonialism. That was FDR's commitment, and that is the reality of what they were. So this is a blockbuster combination between this exclusive from Russia, Dr. Matlock, and the article on the founding of the United Nations and the UN Charter. The UN Charter. This is extremely important for all of our readers to go through. This is a living document and critical now if we are going to usher in a new security and economic development architecture. So go to EIR.news, where you can subscribe to EIR. In tomorrow's edition will be these major breakthrough articles.
Thank you, Richard. Finally, we have a happy announcement that there will be an international conference of the Schiller Institute in Berlin, Germany on July 12th through 13th. That's a Saturday and a Sunday, to which you are cordially invited. The title of the conference is Man is Not a Wolf to Man. For those unfamiliar with the reference, this is a play on the Latin proverb, homo homini lupus est. That proverb says man to man is a wolf, but that is not the case. Man is not a wolf to man. Man is good to man. So at this conference, high-ranking speakers from Europe and the nations of the Global South will participate and be available for intensive discussion. It's 3.5 weeks from now. If you are able to attend in person, that's the most optimal for sure. And you can get in touch with any of your LaRouche office, reach out to them and work out the details on your in-person participation. For those unable to attend in person, you might want to register now on the Schiller Institute website, because registering now for the online participation, you will get the emails between now and the conference indicating how to get the videos and reminders and such. At this conference, main topics include the strategic challenges and the emerging new order, the LaRouche program for rebuilding the global economy and overcoming poverty, the beauty of cultural diversity, the Industrial Revolution 4.0, space, fusion, and AI, and the relevance of LaRouche's ideas and the role of youth in shaping the next 50 years of the planet. There is so much more that the LaRouche movement did this week that we didn't even have time to cover. So stay tuned to our various platforms, the emails, YouTube, Facebook, X, our websites. As the world situation becomes more desperate, people are turning to LaRouche because of our record, because of our ideas. Tonight, we saw our effective mobilization in response to Israel's new war on Iran with a call to action leaflet showing ideas on how the crisis can be resolved and giving people actions they can take to try to make it happen. We saw the important insights of Diane, Sare, and Mike Reeves on how to address the divide and conquer tactics used by our enemies to divide us, that you organize around beautiful ideas and solutions. And we were invited by Anastasia Battle and Richard Black to subscribe and read the journals that will provide us with these ideas and solutions. This is an incredible moment in world history, and we are very, very glad that you are here with us in the fight. Thanks for tuning in.